Yeah, it wasn't, that's not bad. My math is a good. Oh, my math's a five now. No chance. Oh, Camille got a perfect. Oh, yeah. Oh, God, to my sister.
Good morning. Thank you all for finding your seats so nice and quickly. Who's missing it there? Do you know who's next to you? What's that? Joseph. Let's see. Oh, okay. And over there. Okay. Cool.
Jojo's here.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, yeah, I see. Gotta rename it as JoJo here. I haven't done that yet. Okay, so today I do not have your test quite ready yet. I'm so sorry that there's a delay there, but I will get them to you as soon as I can. I know that last problem was a little different, wasn't it?
Oh.
It's a complex number. We're trying to figure out how to do that as a team. So, because there were problems across the board, but yeah, I'll definitely help you. Yes, Kara. I'll elaborate another time, but yeah, I'll definitely talk to you guys about that when the time is right. But for today, let's continue with the new units. I have a quick warm up for you. Right now it's blank, but I think I'd like to do solve by completing the square, just to bring back the good memories. And let's see, we'll do 2x squared minus 10x plus 9 equals 0. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll be calling on one lucky student to help me solve this one. Thank you. Okay, folks, before I call on someone, I totally forgot. Today is the first day that you're sitting in this new seat. I want you to take a moment to first of all make sure you know the person you're sitting next to. So I want you to introduce yourself and say hello if you haven't met that person, and also just talk about some nice things that have happened to you recently, or just what's going on. What's going on? Just take a moment to check in.
Oh, no. Yeah. Interesting. Did I do first one? You did. I mean, it was there. How did it go?
You were amazing.
Like, it was so
You're
much
so
fun. Like, it was, our director said, she was like, I've never seen it in the show. More from the text. Like, it was like, Wednesday's roster was so bad. I was like, anyway, so, it's okay. I'm very tired, but, yeah. Give it another one. And then I went tonight, and then also I looking so because it's like after the show happens, so I'm thinking about it. Oh, I see. I wasn't here for that. Yeah, the teaser, honestly, the teaser on context makes me like be this. There's like stage. Yeah, there's things from shows. It's like my house. Chuck, you can't like that. She's like, stop. I mean, like that's oh yeah.
10 seconds. 10 seconds for checking.
And also, oh, yeah. They're gonna be
Okay, folks. So before I call on someone, I have to say I did go to see She Kills Monsters yesterday. And if you don't have your tickets, please get it. You know, it's just until Sunday, right? Today, Saturday, and Sunday, is that right?
It's not Sunday. It's
What, just
we have it open Thursday. We have 2 shows on Saturday.
okay, so Saturday, tomorrow's the last chance. Okay, so tomorrow's the last chance. Is that right?
Yeah. If there's a show today at 7, 2 on Saturday, 7 on Saturday.
Okay.
Oh, I'm saying still. Oh,
Definitely come. Lise is incredible. And it's so much fun. And like the whole cast is fun to watch. So definitely check it out. That's my recommendation if you have time in your busy lives to make some time for that because it's a joy to watch. And that last scene was completely unexpected. Yeah, that was really amazing. Okay. Oh man, Tyson can't be called on, but Lincoln can. Can you help me out with this, please?
9 first.
Yeah, okay. I like that idea.
5, 2.
Nice. So I'm left with x squared minus. Was anyone a little disappointed to see that 5? It's 5. It's a little bit of a pain, odd number, but that doesn't stop us. Lincoln, you want to continue?
Also, like,
25 over 4, you said? I think 25 fourths makes sense.
just make sure some 5 to 5 points. So that's 16, 16.
What is that? 18 for
18 over 4. And the left side you do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Left side you do x minus 5. Also,
that's 7 fourths, is that right? Okay. 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 Oops, just a minute. 7/4. Okay. Do 7/2 like this. Okay. Any questions? Thanks, Lincoln. Do we have that all over 2a going on right here if you were to use quadratic formula? You can see that happening here. B squared minus 4ac is probably equal to 7, my guess. Would that be right? B squared minus 4ac? 100 minus 4 times 18. Yeah, I'm sure it works out. I don't know. Quadratic formula would also get you there, but so much more satisfying to do completely square, don't you think? No? Oh, you are young. You will learn. Yeah. Let's get on to the packets today. I hope the homework went well. Oh, yeah, there's always homework. Yeah.
I'll do it later. Yeah. Anyways.
There wasn't?
We had our physics lesson.
Before the test, we had well, it was a long time ago, right? Our teacher head was like week before last.
But we didn't have homework assigned after the test.
We had homework from the teacher head.
From
Yeah.
what?
From that one teacher head, yeah.
Another one?
Yeah.
No, there wasn't another one. But it should have been about this stuff, been the radicals, solving radical equations.
Yeah, okay.
And if you didn't get to it, today's a new day. Okay, so this one, I think the obvious first step is to add 3/4 to both sides. -1/2 plus 3/4 is something like 1/4. Oh, this is 5. Thank you. Page 5.
Yeah.
But how would you solve this? I'll give you a moment to think about it. Discuss with your neighbor.
Okay, is this?
I use this paper. Okay. Thanks for all.
Like,
No, I couldn't. Yeah.
yeah, I think he's gotta leave the entire body weight down.
I don't know. Yeah, not much for that.
Like, no, you got it, you got it.
I just think this is summoning Lilith.
Does mine look like part?
They're very.
There you go.
I'm pretty sure, right?
Oh, did I give you the wrong packet?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, no, that's a problem. Maybe I gave you algebra 2, not advanced. Oh, I think this is it.
I think we can.
Thank you. Sorry about that. But what do you think? Does that look great? Yeah, that makes much more sense.
We got a quiz on that.
That's not right.
Now, a quiz on
You have a
Halloween.
quiz on Halloween.
And on 11/11.
Yeah. Push them on.
Okay,
Is that like a special day?
I think didn't you say it was Veterans Day?
it is Veterans Day.
I think it's also the day to grade the mountains.
Oh, that's so good.
Seems like really soon.
Okay, what do I do to both sides now?
My pencil's broken.
Put them to the equation of 3 over each.
Raise both sides to the 3 halves. Are we okay with that? So 3 halves, 3 halves. So this becomes, what's 1 to the 3 halves? It's 1. 1 to the anything is 1. And then 4 to the 3 halves. Should we do something with that? 4 to the 3 halves? Yeah, let's work on that. 4 to the 3 halves.
Wait, yeah, wait. Yeah, or just say.
Square root of 4 to the 3rd power. So it's the same thing as this, isn't it? So it's equal to 8. Is that right? Okay, thank you. Oh, like today's date, right? Hopefully you can do today's date. Do you look at that? I do expect you to look at that every day and at least check to see if it's right. So x is equal to 1/8. Are we good? It's not quite right is a problem. Yes, it should be plus or minus here. But why plus or minus? Let me approach this a different way. I'm going to go back to the beginning. So I'll go back to x to the 2/3 equals 1/4. And instead of writing it as a rational exponent, I'll write this as the cube root of x squared equals 1/4. Make sense? And now I'll do this in 2 steps. First, I'll remove the cube by doing what to both sides? I'm sorry, I'll remove the cube root by cubing both sides. So that'll be x squared equals 1/64. Yes? And now when we take the square root, just like in the warm-up, and Lincoln, thank you, by the way, for your help with the warm-up. When you take the square root of both sides, if you have unknown, we have a plus or minus left, leaving us with plus or minus 1/8. So why don't we have to do that in like a and B or B? Or should I have done that for B? It's a 3 on top. Yeah, so this one had a 2 on top, which means we have an x squared. For x squared, you do need the plus or minus. I'll say even is in numerator. Numerator. Plus or minus. We need 2 solutions. So with that in mind, D should not be difficult for you. I'll give you just a moment to do that. Make sure your neighbor got the same thing you did. Okay, so I'd like to hear from Mackenzie. What'd you get for D? Just the answer. Plus or minus 8. Do we agree? Any questions? Let's make sure -8 works. Let's just make sure. So here's my check. So -8 to the 2/3 power minus 8, is that equal to -4? -8 to the 2/3 is equal to 4 minus 8. Does that equal -4? I think it does. So finishing this off, -4 equals -4. Yep, it works. And I'll trust that 8 works as well. Okay, this kind of equation is not quadratic. How would you describe this equation? Do you remember the word? Quartic. So it's a quartic equation, but it is quadratic form, meaning leading degree is double middle degree. And that doubling is what makes it quadratic form. Remember, when you hear the word quadratic, I want you to think of the number. What number do I want you to think of for quadratic? I want you to think of 2, which I know is a little bit weird because quad you normally think 4, but quadratic 2. So I'm going to make a substitution here. I'm going to say that A is equal to, any idea? I'm going to say x squared. Which means x to the 4th is equal to a squared, isn't it? Just squaring both sides. So I could go back to the original equation, and instead of writing x to the 4th, I could write a squared. And then that 8 times x squared will be replaced with 8a minus 9 equals 0. So we've made it into a quartic into a quadratic. Do you know how to solve quadratic equations? I'll let you finish.
Do you have to do it as quadratic, or can you factor it?
You can just factor it. Thank you. And I'll definitely talk about it. Oh, if you two want to switch, you're welcome to. And you two also, if you want to switch, you're welcome to. Because the lefty.
Oh, I did this like a week ago, and I did it for home. You lose your case.
What in the world?
I know, right?
That is not.
Yeah.
No, it's just.
Okay, check in with your neighbor. I would like to call on someone to see what you're able to do with this.
Like, no, so like A would be
Smart,
X.
thank you. I couldn't figure out the 91, so.
Ignore like what I did like a week ago, because I didn't know.
That's what's not. That's science.
This is why.
But what else?
Wait, can you factor x
No.
minus 1 x plus 1?
I mean, I guess it gets you to see.
Plus.
Plus or
Oh,
minus.
wait, then, okay.
Okay, so I would like to hear from Joanna after I pick up my stylus.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear only from Joanna. Can you help me with this? Okay.
Plus 9 minus 1 0. And 5 and 0
Okay. But of course, since we're not talking about A, we had to go a little bit further. Would that make sense? So instead of A equals -9, we're going to say, yeah, we'll plug in that x squared here. So x squared equals -9. We'll also say that x squared equals 1. So from x squared equals -9, well, we just solve for x. Our equation in terms of x, we want as this.
So, plus or minus 3.
Plus or minus. Now we're taking the square root of a negative number, so it's going to be plus or minus 3i. And then here.
That would just be plus or minus.
Is that clear? Joanna, thank you. Nicely done. Yes, Elise.
Isn't I imply it's negative, so it's either plus or minus. Right, no, never mind. My brain figured it out.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I implies that we have square root of the negative, but it could be a negative imaginary number. Now, do you have to do the substitution, or could you just factor it right from here? Would you be comfortable saying, well, I could just factor this? Oh. So to get that x fourth, you could say this is just x squared and x squared. And you still have that plus 9 and minus 1 equals 0. So that's perfectly fine as well. If you see that, you're welcome to do that. And then you can see right here, we get that x squared equals -9, x squared equals 1. We go almost directly to the end immediately without the substitution. It's up to you if you want to use substitution or not. There's no shame in using it. But it is nice to streamline your efforts. Any questions? Okay. Try 4. let's say 4. Try a hug. Mondays are the worst. I'd like to call one lucky individual in just a little while. Want to check in with your neighbor before I call someone? Oh, did you two already check in with each other? Chloe?
Yes, I
Great.
did.
So outsourcing now. Okay. I'd like to hear from Sam. Can you help me out? How'd you do this one? For A, just A.
So I just went straight to factoring. The
Okay.
X squared minus 2 times x squared minus 3. So then you get x squared equals 2 and x squared equals 2. And then to get x, you just square root. So x equals plus or minus 2 or plus or minus
Plus or minus.
root 2.
Okay, good. And X equals.
Minus root.
Are we good? Nicely done. Thank you very much. Is this quadratic form? Is B quadratic form? How do you know it's quadratic form? Yeah, this is double the second one. So could you already go right to factoring? If you want, the substitution would be that A equals X to the 1/3, which means X squared would be X to the 2/3 if you wanted to, or you could factor it directly. I'll give you a moment to talk through. Try B, C, and D.
Oh my god, it's so satisfying. It's like this. When like it's like a big number. Which one? Someone's a big number. It's all. There's like an option. That's what's the way that was. It's not that 6 bullets. Oh, 2. 4 hands. No, hold it.
As you proceed, don't go more than one past your partner. So once you finish B, don't go on to C until your partner is also done. B.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. All the way up to D. And please do not expand D. Oh, what? And you can. It's not wrong.
I like it.
It's really satisfying.
And then he's like, you cross it, but then it's like, I get them, like, no, what? Because then, like, it's wrong. Like, hypothetical.
Yeah, it's fun. Hold up, let me figure out the features. Okay. My God.
Do you mind if we go over B? I want to volunteer for B. Who could help us with that? Yeah, May?
So you can factor it out to 5x to the 1/3 power plus 1 times x to the 1/3 power plus 2 equals 0.
Okay, are we good with that?
And you can like, do the little branching out zero product property.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Maybe I just go directly to this equals -1.
Yeah. Like
X to 1/3 equals -2. Just jump in.
Cube both sides.
Okay.
Oh, well, okay, wait, divide by 5 on that side first.
I guess it'll work out either way.
Like
Yeah.
-1/5.
But I like the idea of,
And then cube both sides.
okay.
But it stays negative.
Ooh, nice. And this one is x equals -8. Are we good with those? If you did the substitution, of course, you'd have 5a squared plus 11a plus 2. Maybe that's a little bit more comfortable for you to factor. I know it's tricky. And I did notice on the test, some of you were having trouble with the whole, this, you get the 10-1, and then you do something crazy there. Please make sure that you understand the processes that are essential as soon as you can. But yeah, looking for those two answers. Mimi, thank you for your help with that. C and D, you're working on it. I will be counting on 2 people for that. D, again, please don't expand. Just factor it as it is. Do a substitution if you like.
Yeah. I just leave that as
Well, you bring it up.
okay,
Yeah.
I got you. There you go. Okay, how'd you do this?
Once you get to the 10, you can factor it, and then you subtract.
Oh, yeah.
Each one equals easier.
Oh, okay.
What? Yeah.
You just took that was what happened to get.
Yeah.
You about ready? Okay, for C, I'd like to hear from, oh, I already called someone. Jojo, could you help us with C, please? Okay,
3x to the 1/3 plus 1 times x to the 1/3 plus 4
Okay, but before you move on, I just want to check to make sure this is right. Oh, and it's frozen, isn't it? Thank you. Okay, I just want to check to make sure this is right. And by checking, all I'm going to do is going to multiply. Do you all see the 3x to the 2/3 here? And you see the -4 quite obviously. Do you see the middle term? Because if you're not sure, I do want you to check, but let's just see. We have a -12x to the 1/3 plus x to the 1/3, -11x to the 1/3. Jojo, can you please continue?
So then, we have that x to the 1/3 equals -1/3, 1 all to the 4.
1/3 equals 4. Okay.
And you can flip it so you can cube the other side. So x equals -1.
Oh, this is negative. Thank you. -1/27. Any questions? Do you want to check? It's not too bad to check, but it seems like everything was in order. Thank you very much. For D, do you know what I mean by I don't want you to expand? Like, do you know what I want you to do here? So just factor. Who could help us with that one? Yes, Elise.
X squared minus 5
Okay.
minus 5 times x squared minus 5.
Oh, you're factoring it out of the first two terms? Interesting. So like kind of like this. Times x squared minus 5 plus 3. And then we're done factoring that out. So minus 10.
How did you? I can't like it.
Is this going to get us anywhere? I'm not sure this is going to take us anywhere.
Oh,
It works, and this is true, but I'm not sure we could use ZPP from here because we have something minus something equals 0. So we could add 10 to both sides, but I'm not sure. I think that's taking us further from what we want. For working with quadratics or quadratic forms, we definitely want it equal to 0 so we could eventually use ZPP. Thank you. Or complete the square, but yeah, we're definitely not going to do that here. So I'm going to go back. At least thank you for giving it a stab, but giving it a stab. Yeah, I'm sorry. But how are we supposed to do this? Carrie, you have an idea?
minus 5 for a.
Okay.
So I think a plus 5 times
A.
a minus.
Oh, so this is just a squared plus 3a minus 10, kind of how you think about it? Okay.
A 5 times a minus 2. So that means a equals -5 on 2.
I'm going to write it as 2 because I know what's coming. So far, so good?
Like 2 separate columns. That is x squared minus 5 equals -5, which means x squared equals 0, right? I mean, and then x equals 0.
Just positive 0?
Yes?
Yeah.
No.
Sorry for the freak out.
And then x squared minus 5 equals 2, which means x squared equals 7, which means x equals root 7.
Plus-
We got that. We got that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I think this will, thank you, Kara, by the way. And this will work if you expand this to get like x to the 4th minus 10x squared plus 25. That will work if you expand them and then.
Oh, we didn't, I don't, maybe we didn't do it.
So
I'm not sure what happened.
Let's do x2.
We factored it and simplified it to x squared minus 2, x squared minus 5 equals 10. X to
Yeah.
the 4th
Expand it out.
minus 7x squared plus 10 equals 10. So it's x to the
Like the
4th
same
minus
thing.
7, x squared equals 0.
Oh yeah, that's fine. If you go right from here to x squared minus 5 plus 5 and x squared minus 5 minus 2. Whoa. Equals 0. Elise, is that where you were headed?
You should write it on.
It was just saying what?
You should write it up on the board. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It is 8:40 right now. I'm going to resume instruction at 8:43 so we can figure out this conundrum here.
Oh, yeah.
Why'd you erase it? Because I was told my work was, it worked.
The work worked.
Um, Listen, that is what I. What is that? It's what made it.
Oh, yeah. This is different though from what you're saying.
No, that's the same thing.
From what I understood, you were factoring out the square root minus 5. For the first one, which was x squared minus 5 plus 3
Yeah, and then you just like combine.
minus 10.
Yeah,
Then you bring over
well,
10.
that was all I said, and the next thing to do is x squared minus 5.
This is
X squared
Minus 2 equals 10.
equals 10. No, she's a good teacher. And then x.
10.
Oh, it's
10.
Not me.
And then you expand it out, and then you subtract the 10.
Yeah.
So just-
Okay. So you're expanding it here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, I wanted the substitution. I wanted that x squared minus 5, but you're right. We could have proceeded and it would have been fine.
Use anything of these terms, and I like.
I'll talk about that.
I tried to as long as I was like, who was it? He wasn't there. I would try to. Well, but it's everybody. Oh, it's still there. Last.
I get
Okay. 8:43. Let us continue. Yeah, I don't know if you were overhearing, but I do want to proceed with what Elise was saying first. And I should clarify that I guess there's a difference between what I want you to do and what is okay to do based on what you know. So what Elise was saying was perfect. It was correct, but it was just not the direction that I wanted us to go. So I do want to show both halves because I think there's value in showing different methods. So I'm going to go ahead and factor out that x squared minus 5 from just the first two terms. It's kind of like factoring by grouping there, right? It's just the first two terms. We're factoring that out. So we're left with x squared minus 5 plus 3. And then we have that awkward minus 10, which when you're dealing with just a quadratic, well, this won't help. But the fact is that's quadratic form. So there's more that we can do. And then, so at least notice that this is just x squared minus 5 times x squared minus 2 minus 10 equals 0. And from there, as long as you're doing correct things, you're going to get something that at least is not wrong. So what did you do next from there?
Left side, so x squared minus
X to the,
minus 7x squared equals 10. Or and then sorry, plus 10 equals 10. But if you those cancel out, so
I'm going to leave the minus 10 on the left, but you're right, they cancel out anyway. So leaving us with x to the 4th minus 7x squared equals 0.
x squared times x squared minus 7. So x equals 0 or x equals plus or minus the square root of 7.
Oh, squared 7. Nicely done. Yeah, so as long as you're not doing anything wrong. I was worried about that -10, but that was just my own one-track mind. So thank you for sharing that other method with us. I do recommend just thinking about it as quadratic going right to here. But as long as you're doing good algebra, everything will be fine. I'll save that E for you if you'd like to try that on your own for practice, but we have to talk about equations involving absolute value. We'll start very simply. Absolute value of x equals 2. Would you please check in with your neighbor how you would solve that?
Yeah. I gotta guess.
And if you can, please show me your answer
How? Wait.
with
no.
your fingers.
Oh.
So it's not just this, it's also this, right? Does it make sense that those are your answers? How did you do that? Maybe by understanding absolute values and just kind of knowing that that's what it would be. What's that? Oh, it's the distance from 0. So if you visualize that on the number line, here's 0. How many have a distance of 2 from 0? There's 2 and -2. That's really nice. Or maybe you just think, well, what numbers are going to work? Maybe that's how you did it, which is fine too. The point is, when you have an absolute value equation, and we just had the most simple type absolute value equation, there are often two answers. Now, I say often because what if our were absolute value of x equals -5? What would the solutions be there? Check with your neighbor. Absolute value of x equals -5. What would the solutions be there? So show me your answer or answers. Yeah, this is probably no solution here from your knowledge of absolute value. Output of an absolute value cannot be negative. Does it have to be positive? That doesn't have to be positive because it could also be 0, but it definitely can't be negative. So if you see something like that, automatically you know no solution. Let's kick it up a notch, shall we? Would make sense for the inside here to be either equal to 11 or that 2x minus 3 could be equal to -11. Is that something you can remember? Absolutely you can. No pun intended. No,
Say that.
absolutely. No, it wasn't intended.
Sure.
Absolutely sure.
That one was.
That one was intended.
So confused. Absolutely.
Oh, this is gonna be on the test.
So x equals 7, is that right? And x equals -4. Should we check? That -4 seems sus. I can't plug it in. 2 times -4, -8 minus 3 is -11. Absolute value of -11 is 11. Yay. Pardon? Does C have a solution? Oh, D? Good question. Does D have a solution? What's that? Yeah, we could subtract 2 from both sides, so we get the absolute value of 2x minus 1 is equal to -2. Yep. Nope. Yeah, but how about C? What would you do first for C? Add 15 and then divide by 5. So we get absolute value of 1 minus 4x is equal to 3. I think there might be some solutions. And when I say some, I mean 2. Did you finish? This is difficult. This is a hard one. Kara, did you finish this one? C? Can you help us with it?
So I divided the teams by 5 to
Oh.
get 3.
Perfect.
Okay. So, then I had negative 4x equals.
Interesting.
1 minus 4x equals plus or minus 3. Then negative 4x equals negative 1 plus or minus 3.
-1 plus or minus 3.
Okay. Then I got negative 4x equals 2 comma negative 4.
Okay, so 2 or -4. Okay.
Then multiplied by negative 1.
Multiple.
I divided it by negative 4.
Okay, perfect. Let's do that. So x equals -1 half and 1. Are we good? Thank you, Carol. And I like how you kept that plus or minus 3 there, so that right here you could just say, well, there's a 4 and a negative and a -4 and 2.
Line have multiplied it by negative 1, or would that have been like?
You could have, but I'm not sure why you'd multiply and then divide. Just divide it by -4. But you could absolutely do that. If you wanted to, you could do this. You could keep it as this. Calculator ready. Of course, I wouldn't accept that for full credit on the test. I would expect you to actually do that work, but you would still get the -1 half 1. Yeah, I want to move on to. I need to be able to get some homework. This one is too much fun not to do. Let's try number 1. So extra practice number 1. Do you appreciate the beauty of this problem? Do you? Jojo does. Sam does.
There's 4.
Oh, sounds like Elise appreciates it.
Section, what's 60 divided by 4? 60 doesn't go in this what? 60 like 14. Oh, you know what I did that messed me up? I thought 16 was 16.
You can tell.
That's not that.
Check it with your neighbor once you got it. I do want to call on someone to help.
Oh, okay, I see what I mean. Fun, actually.
Right? I kind of like these absolute value equations. Next time, absolute value inequalities. Yeah, you're going to love it.
You have to check all of these. I don't want to.
You don't want to.
I didn't check them.
Here we go.
15
You
times.
just trusted your algebra. Are we ready?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, Chloe, can you help us with this, please? Seems excited.
These are both positive 60, negative 60. So x squared minus 17x equals 60, or x squared minus 17x equals 5.
Okay. Nice.
Equals 0, or x squared minus 17x plus 60 equals 0.
Plus 16 equals 0. Okay.
X minus 20 times x plus 3 equals 0, or x minus 5 times x minus 12 equals 0.
So these both work? Incredible. Keep on going.
Negative 3, or 5.
4 solutions. Did you already have all 4 of these? What's crazy?
60. It's actually 60.
Oh, interesting. So if you misread this as a 16, then some of them actually has. Wow, that's
That's pretty good.
that is really interesting.
You got
That's interesting that you went in that direction. Just for exploratory purposes, I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah, I like it. Chloe, thank you. That was great. Okay, and I think that's all I got for you. You have some time to either work through these practice problems or work on your homework. So many options. Sam doesn't know what to do with himself. Like, what? This homework? I don't know.
Oh, my bad.
It's like, okay.
Dude. So.